Disclaimer: the following is a true crime-style dramatization of pre-existing fictional media. The rights to said media belong to their respective rights holders, and any resemblance to persons living or dead not stated in the original media is merely coincidental, and honestly, would be pretty wild. Hello and welcome back to Real Strange Tales, where we delve into the strange, violent, mysterious, and macabre tales that take place in our real world. I'm your host and narrator, Mike Howes, aka Slaughterhouse.
And I am aware of how excited you are about this case, so I went all out on my spooky name this time.
Oh yeah, that's exciting.
So I thought of something Halloweeny since we're in October now.
Awesome, buddy. Let's hear it.
I am also your host, Cody McLaughlin, aka the Jackal Lantern.
Jack-o'-lantern?
Yeah, like Jackal and Jack-o'-lantern.
I get that part, but how does the jackal factor into it?
It sounds like Jacko.
Yeah, but it
Do you not like it?
no, it's great.
Cool, because I used the half a name notepad coming up with that.
Right on. We are Slaughterhouse and the Jack-o'-lantern.
Ooh, girl. Sounds like red hot sex butter in my ears.
Red hot what?
So what's the deal with today's episode?
Right. This is one of my favorite cases.
That's weird.
No, what I'm saying is that
People lost their lives, dude. Assumedly. I actually don't know what happened. That or someone maybe got turned into a sea mammal?
nope, no transformations here, other than the transformation of a small boy into the embodiment of pure evil.
Surgically?
No, spiritually, metaphorically, rhetorically, poetically, theoretically.
Why are you talking like that?
You still haven't checked out Puss in Boots 2?
No, why?
Alright, let's get into this.
Wait, is Puss in Boots 2 good?
Yes! Now let's go. Our story begins at 45 Lambkin Lane, a two-story suburban house in Haddonfield, Illinois. This Halloween night, 1963. Teenage Judith Myers was spending the evening with her boyfriend, who made sure to leave before her parents returned home.
We all know how that goes. You're with your lady friend, her parents are on the way home, so you gotta do your thing and make a quick getaway before curfew hits and your parents ground you.
Yeah, I don't know how that goes. I was more of a sit home and start another save file of Majora's Mask kind of guy when I was a teenager.
Who said anything about being a teenager? This was before me and Sarah got our own place. This was like 5 years ago.
You said you had to get home before curfew or you get grounded.
Right, yeah, no, I was talking about being a teenager.
Did you have a bedtime?
Shut up.
Judith sat in her room, fully comfortable with her last few minutes of independence before her parents returned home. However, unbeknownst to her, she wasn't alone in the house. As she sat at her vanity, not yet having gotten dressed.
That's how I do it.
Do what?
Brush my hair.
You, look, I don't want to sound insensitive.
Dude, are you gonna use a slur?
No, you just, you don't have hair, man. You're dolphin smooth.
Who said it was on my head?
Jesus Christ.
That's why I gotta be naked to brush it.
You remember how, the walrus story broke your brain for a minute?
Yeah.
Well, you just said did that to me, so I'm gonna go over here and narrate for a little bit. As Judith sat in front of the mirror, she noticed a figure that had snuck into her room, a familiar shape, one she trusted. After drawing close, she was stabbed 9 times, falling to the floor where she would later be found by her parents, Donald and Edith Myers, who were mere moments from arriving home. The assailant had made their way down the stairs, to the front porch, down the steps, and toward the road where the Myers car had just arrived. Still holding the bloodied knife, the assailant was confronted by the family, who were shocked to see
The boyfriend. Easy peasy. Next story.
Nope.
Damn.
Clad in the clown costume they'd helped him put on before leaving him in Judith's care for the night, the Myers parents were face to face with the one who had taken their daughter's life, their 6-year-old son, Michael. Little did they know that before they left that evening, it would be the last time they heard either of their children's voices again, as Michael would never speak another word.
Do we have another stabby kid? I love those.
You know it! Following the incident, Donald and Edith Myers buried their daughter and had to contend with claims that they abused Michael or somehow drove him to commit this heinous act. Though investigations resulted in no evidence to back up these accusations, the feelings of judgment didn't stop. The Myers left town to escape it.
Yeah, I don't want kids.
You afraid they'll stab one another?
Oh, God. Even if I do have one somehow, I'm not going to have two. No.
Afraid they'll hurt somebody else then?
Not specifically, but like if they do, people are going to point at me and be like, hey, you turned this little bastard into this. Like, hell no, I didn't. I'd try interacting with them as little as possible.
I mean, being avoided by their parents is probably what caused one or two of these little bastards to act out in the first place, my man.
Yeah. Honestly, it seems complicated. I'm not doing it.
I'm sure society is grateful. Michael, however, was institutionalized at Smith's Grove Sanitarium in the care of psychiatrist Dr. Sam Loomis. While Loomis began his treatment of Michael with good intentions, he soon came to the conclusion that Michael was pure evil.
That's me when I want to knock off early. Well, nothing to be done. I'll still be here, but I'll be drinking.
Throughout the entirety of his monitoring, Michael never spoke a word, simply staring at the wall of his room. Loomis came to believe that Michael wasn't staring at the wall. He was staring past the wall. He was waiting, biding his time for the night he'd be free once more. Loomis deemed Michael untreatable and advised that he be kept under their watch for the rest of his life.
I have a question.
Staring through the wall was figurative, not literal.
Got it.
I planned for you to ask that.
Then your narration should have been more specific. But yeah, so this dude just up and never spoke again?
Not a word.
That anyone knew of.
What do you mean?
You know that thing like when you're home alone and you realize you haven't spoken in a while? So you just like look at your cat and say like big old balls just to make sure your voice box didn't like shrivel up and fall off.
Oh, yeah. I got you. That's why I have dogs. You talk to them, it's normal, it's expected, it's encouraged. Dogs are responsive. You talk to cats, they just ignore you when it feels kind of sad and lonely.
Oh yeah? Which one of us has a fiance again?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I felt bad as soon as that started coming out. I just got a little heated.
Yeah.
Just don't talk shit about my cats.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure there's someone out there for you, buddy.
Sure.
Hey, buddy, remember how much you like this case? Why don't you tell me more about Dr. Lupus and little Mark Mayers?
All right.
Oh.
On October 30th, 1978, Loomis would be proven right. With Michael's new court date after his 21st birthday approaching, he arrived on a rainy night to pick Michael up, accompanied by Nurse Marion Chambers. Upon arriving at Smith's Grove, they were surprised to see several patients freely roaming the grounds. Michael had orchestrated their escape as a way to distract Loomis, which worked, as he got out to investigate, opening Nurse Chambers up to an attack from Michael, who made her flee from the car, allowing him to jump behind the wheel and drive away in it.
He drives now?
He drives now. Loomis spent the night attempting to track Michael, then met with Dr. Terrence Wynn, the administrator of Smith's Grove, where Loomis was blamed for Michael's escape for not giving them enough warning.
What?
What's wrong?
Didn't give them enough warning. I've known about this dude for all of 18 seconds, and all I know is that his name isn't Dr. Lupus, like I said a minute ago, and that he hates this fucking kid, and he thinks he should be locked up forever.
Also, security was not his job.
Security wasn't his job!
Loomis declared that he knew where Michael was headed and loaded up his Smith & Wesson Model 15 revolver before making his way to Haddonfield.
I don't think that's his job either.
Like you said, he hates this fucking kid.
Quite a bit, apparently.
But, just for the record, Michael is 21 at this point in the story.
Okay, but I feel like we're old enough that still counts as a kid.
You keep hurting me today, but that's true. October 31st, 1978. Haddonfield is ready for the holiday. The leaves are falling. The houses are decorated. The kids are heading to school anticipating coming home, putting on their costumes, and filling their bags with candy.
Gave me goosebumps. Ugh, I love Halloween.
Lori Strode, a 17-year-old high school student, a model student at that, began her day like any other. Her father, Mason Strode, a local realtor, asked her to drop a key off at the house he was attempting to sell. This was a long abandoned house that had gained a reputation for being haunted, a source of bad luck, and all around unsettling. The Myers house.
It does make me laugh, just picturing him trying to sell it every couple years. Like everyone we went to high school with that disappears for a few months at a time and then turns super religious. They end up passing out in the liquor store parking lot before disappearing for a couple months, trying to sell a whole bunch of rusted shit for just pennies on the dollar every other week.
That was tremendously specific.
Yeah, crazy is I'm talking about like 4 different people.
Yeah, I know what 4 people you're talking about, but make sure to ask you if I need some rusty shit. While in class, Lori claimed she looked out the window and saw a shape across the street wearing overalls and a pale white mask watching her. But when she glanced back, it was gone. On the road to Haddonfield, Loomis found an abandoned tow truck. Nearby was Michael Smith's Grove robes, and authorities later found the body of the driver in a nearby brush, stripped of his boots and overalls.
Or he was brushing his hair.
Stop. After school, Lori began her routine walk home with her 2 best friends, daughter of the local sheriff, Annie Brackett, and cheerleader, Linda Vanderclock.
Who was her dad?
What?
Linda. You said Annie was the sheriff's daughter. Who was Linda's dad?
It doesn't factor into the story, so it's not something I figured out.
So the sheriff factors into the story, is what you're telling me.
In a story about a psycho killer unleashed on a small town? Yeah.
Interesting.
On the way home, the girls were followed by a car, believed to be the same car that Michael had stolen the night before. Shortly after the car moved along, Lori again spotted a man watching her, this time hiding behind the hedges in a nearby yard. However, when Annie went ahead to investigate, he was nowhere to be found.
Damn, dude has super speed too?
Honestly, at times, it seems like it. Lori again saw this masked figure standing among the neighbor's clothesline from her second-story bedroom window, and he disappeared again just as quickly. Lori proceeded to get ready for her Halloween evening plans, babysitting Tommy Doyle. Annie was babysitting a young girl named Lindsay Wallace, who lived right across the street from the Doyles.
Her Halloween plans are babysitting? Dude, bummer.
What are your usual plans for Halloween? I mean, like, I always make time to hand out candy, of course.
I honestly usually passed out by 7.
You specifically plan to drink too much and pass out by 7 o'clock on Halloween?
I plan on drinking early and in turn usually out by 7. So yeah, closest thing I have to a plan.
Hey, at least you're consistent. Across town, it was discovered that a local hardware store had been broken into. Sheriff Brackett had assumed that kids were responsible for the break-in, as the only things missing were some knives, some rope, and a Halloween mask.
What the fuck kind of kids live in Haddonfield?
Right? It doesn't seem like these would be the first things on a mischievous teenager's shopping list.
Oh boy, little Jesse got into trouble, tied up some people, stabbed them, wore a dumbass mask the whole time. Boys will be boys.
There a reason you chose your little brother's name in that hypothetical situation?
Yes.
Care to share?
No.
It was at the hardware store where Loomis finally located the sheriff, after arriving in Haddonfield and visiting the local cemetery to discover that Judith Myers' headstone had been stolen, pulled straight out of the ground.
Were there tire tracks nearby? Like he used the car to pull it out?
Nope, someone picked it up by hand and walked the hell away with it.
And nobody saw it?
Nobody that came forward, no.
Damn, boy. I see you in them big arms.
After being brought up to speed on the escaped mental patient arriving in his town, Sheriff Brackett asked Loomis to keep things quiet while they got to the bottom of this.
That sounds like a good call for everyone except for everybody Michael is going to assumedly kill.
The best way to keep people safe is to not let them know that there's danger.
What? No, it's not.
I was being sarcastic, man.
Oh. I don't like when you do that.
I'll stop.
Thank you. Hey.
The The two paid a visit to the Myers house and discovered that Michael had in fact already visited the location, as evidenced by the still warm, half-eaten corpse of a local dog.
Fuck this guy. I hate him.
Take whatever teenagers you want, just don't hurt the dogs.
Exactly. Wait, are you being sarcastic again?
I feel like that was the intention, but I feel like it ended up being more genuine, because dogs rule. With Brackett and the local officers on alert, Loomis decided to stay behind at the Myers house in case Michael came back again.
He knew Mikey was saving the rest of that dog for later.
It's a solid strategy. I mean, you're trying to get the jump on someone, wait by their leftovers. The one place I'm definitely going to be is near my wings.
That's how Sarah catches me when I neglect to mow the grass.
Just mow the damn grass.
The sun is outside and I don't like the heat.
It's October. Lori and Annie had settled into the Doyle and Wallace houses respectively. While Annie made popcorn and Lori planned a fun evening including pumpkin carving and comic books, the TV sets in both homes were set to Dr. Dementia's horror movie marathon.
Dr. Dementia? That's insensitive.
The two girls had called each other on the phone and were discussing the average teenage points of interest, their evening plans, their social lives, and Annie's attempts to find Lori a boyfriend.
Yeah, how did you meet people back then?
I honestly don't even know how you meet people now, but given their age, I'm going to take a guess and say the high school that they all went to.
Oh, good point. It's like people are forced to be there with you.
That's the creepiest possible way for you to phrase that, but in essence, I guess it's correct. Annie had been interrupted by the Wallace family dog, which she let out. The dog barked for a few moments before it stopped. After the events of the evening, the dog's body would be found in the side yard.
I don't like this guy.
You're not supposed to like him. He's done some hard things.
Then why do you like him so much?
I don't like him. I'm interested in him.
That's worse. You want to sleep with him? Like one of those Dahmer sluts?
No, I find him interesting.
So you're kind of like the Loomis guy.
What do you mean?
You're like obsessed with this, but you know he's just a bad mamma jamma.
That's like the nicest thing you've ever said to me.
Is that true? Oh, if it is, I feel bad.
At the same time, Lori was interrupted by Tommy, who claimed to see a man across the street.
Well, at least someone finally believes her.
Lori brushed Tommy off and told him to go watch TV.
What the fuck?
Across the street, Annie made Lindsay bundle up and follow her to the Doyle house, so Lori could watch the young girl while Annie snuck off to pick up her boyfriend, Paul. However, she wouldn't make it further than her car before losing her life to Michael Myers. Upon getting in, she was attacked from the back seat. She was strangled before having her throat cut.
Damn.
What?
That was the sheriff's daughter, right?
Yeah, Annie.
Yeah, bet sheriff wishes he had let everyone know about homeboy and the loose now.
You're a dick. Tommy again looked out the window in his living room to see Michael carrying Annie's body to the inside of the Wallace house. He shouted for Lori, who didn't make it to the window before Michael was already inside. She blamed it on his imagination due to the horror movies, comic books, and spooky stories he'd been consuming in celebration of the holiday.
She knows a dude is following her.
Right.
She knows he can disappear quickly.
Right.
But she blames the little boy seeing a strange man carrying a body outside of the window on his goddamn imagination?
Right. Meanwhile, at the Myers house, Loomis had to scare off a local boy named Lonnie Elam for wandering into the Myers house before being encountered once more by Brackett, unaware that his daughter was no longer alive.
Wait, we know the name of the kid who was sneaking into the house? Did he have to give a report or something?
He factors in a little later.
Oh, I'll shut up then.
Alright, cool, anyway.
But I do find it hilarious. These cops are, I assume, running up and down the street looking for Michael while Loomis is sitting there just scaring kids off the lawn.
I mean, it's probably the safest job available. At the Wallace house, Linda and her boyfriend Bob Sims arrived. Their plan apparently to pawn Lindsay off on Lori and party with Annie and Paul.
I thought the wing woman thing Annie was doing was kind of cool, but that's decidedly uncool. Did Annie keep the money for babysitting even though she made Lori take over?
Annie's a corpse right now. She's not taking or giving money to anyone anymore.
Yeah, that would be difficult. But would she have?
Yeah, I'm not sure. My notes don't have any details about the teenage girl's babysitting contracts.
It's cool, dude. I'm sure the information is out there and you're going to continue getting better, buddy. Just keep trying.
Um, thank you. After Linda and Bob went into the house, Lori received a call from Linda that she thought was a prank, as it was just moaning.
Oh no. This is like the time I butt dialed you on Valentine's Day.
You told me that was a joke and you weren't actually.
Yeah, no, yeah, we weren't.
That's gross. What? How did you butt dial me if you didn't have pants on?
Excuse
Are you trying to do the throat clear so that I switch to narrating instead of asking you about this? It's not a magic trick. You don't get to. In actuality, what Lori had heard were Linda's last moments as she was being strangled with the cord of the telephone.
See, that's why I prefer modern phones. No cords to get tangled up in. There are other ways for them to hurt you, but it is decidedly more difficult.
Like, if you're staring at it and you trip or something?
Or if it gets stuck in like your yeah, if you trip.
What? Alright, let's. Bob had also been attacked downstairs in the kitchen when Michael had burst from a closet, choked him, and ran a knife through his torso, pinning him to the wall, before removing his body.
So this tombstone hauling guy can also pin an entire goddamn dude to a wall with a knife?
Yep.
He's awful, but it's kind of cool.
After putting the kids to bed, Lori made her way across the street. She found the house quiet, empty, and dark.
Girl, leave.
She made her way upstairs, no response to her calls. In the bedroom of Lindsay's parents, Lori found Annie's body sprawled out across the bed, a jack-o'-lantern on the nightstand the only source of light. Judith's tombstone sitting behind her. Leaping back in terror, Lori caused Bob's body to drop, suspended by its feet with the rope stolen from the hardware store, swinging back and forth. Lori then found Linda's body stuffed into a wardrobe. Lori stumbled into the hallway and broke down. But from the shadows, Michael Myers drew closer, the man both she and Tommy had seen several times throughout the day.
See? You should have listened to Tommy, Lori.
Michael slashed Lori's arm, causing her to fall over the railing of the stairs to the first story below. She ran to the back door in the kitchen where it appeared Michael had been planning while Lori wandered the house. He had blocked off the back door from the outside with a rake. Lori had closed and locked the door to the kitchen as she struggled with the back door as Michael burst his way through it.
That door didn't stand a chance. My boy don't play.
Which one of us loves him now?
Just tell me what happens, dude.
Michael easily burst through the kitchen door.
Yeah.
Lori shattered a glass panel on the back door to move the rake and made her way off of the property and began to bang on doors and shout for help from the neighbors. They, however, assumed it was a Halloween prank and turned off their porch lights.
Now you know how Tommy felt when you told him you didn't believe him.
Lori made it back to the Doyle household where the kids were sleeping and managed to stir Tommy awake, who let her in just as Michael was closing in on her. She locked the door and told the kids to lock themselves upstairs. She attempted to call the police, but the phone was dead. The line had been cut.
Did her cell not have service?
1978. Already feeling scared and vulnerable. Things only got worse when Lori felt the breeze and noticed that a window in the living room was open. She grabbed a knitting needle and sank into the front of the couch. Michael lunged at her from behind it. She responded by sticking the needle into his neck. He dropped to the ground.
Get his ass, girl. Throw him back out that window.
Lori went upstairs to check on Tommy and Lindsay. She told them that she had killed him. However, Tommy pointed out that you can't kill the boogeyman. And as if on cue, Michael ascended the stairs.
Tommy knows what's up. Should have dropped him in the ocean like Megatron.
Probably not a likely option for teenage girls in Illinois.
Excuses, excuses.
Lori rushed the kids back into the room where they locked the door. Lori hid in a closet with slat folding doors, tying the knobs together so they couldn't be opened.
Man, even if you can't open the door, those things are made of like paint stirrers. Do you know how many times drunk me has crashed through those fragile little fuckers?
Anything more than one sounds problematic. Is it more than one?
Oh, yeah, baby.
Damn, sounds like you might have a problem, man.
Yeah, it's a shitty closet design.
No, I mean with getting drunk enough to fall through one and doing so multiple times.
I don't tell you how to party.
I'm not judging. I'm just saying. Anyway. Michael quickly discovered that Lori was in the closet and punched through the wooden slats to reach her. However, Lori had unraveled a wire hanger and jabbed Michael in the face with it, piercing his left eye and knocking him to the ground motionless once more.
He lost an eye? Hell yeah.
Lori climbed over Michael's body to meet the kids once more, sending them to a neighbor's to find help.
I find it funny that it's clear none of the people in this neighborhood give a shit or want to help her, and she's just telling these two kids to run around hoping to change someone's mind.
I mean, I guess smaller kids banging on your door, shouting would, be more alarming than a teenager.
No. Honestly, when you put it that way, it sounds terrifying. I'm not opening the door for that shit.
So, like, a kid bangs on your door and says a man with a knife is chasing them. You're not going to help?
How am I going to do?
Let the kids in.
So that I can just invite the knife people to come after me?
Knife people?
Yeah, like they have down at the docks. I'm not going to put up a knife signal for them.
Knife people! I'm right here!
Knife people!
We're idiots. As Lori finished giving her commands to the kids, Michael sat up and rose to his feet.
Yo, I need to know something.
What's up?
It's going to be a spoiler.
Why would I spoil something?
It's fine. Nobody cares. Just, I need to know something.
What's up?
Is Michael a robot?
No.
We're never going to talk about a robot, are we?
I actually do have a case with a robot earmarked for later. Not sure when we're going to get to it, but we're definitely going to do it.
Yeah. And then, when's the Grim Cuddy episode?
If you bring up Grim Cuddy again, I'm cutting the Megan one.
I mean, for my birthday?
Stop.
Okay.
Outside, Loomis, after finding Nurse Chambers' car abandoned, was searching the streets of Haddonfield and was alerted by the sound of Tommy and Lindsay running from the house screaming. Loomis ran inside of the Doyle house to find Michael attacking an unaware Lori, who had managed to pull his mask off. Michael stopped long enough to put his mask back on.
Was he deformed?
Nope.
Then why was he worried about the mask?
You saying that deformed people should be forced to wear masks?
No. I don't know what he's trying to hide. Is he like Rorschach?
That's difficult to tell. He doesn't talk, but dude loves his mask.
Got it.
Michael stopping to put his mask back on gave Loomis the chance to shoot Michael 6 times, sending him stumbling back over the balcony of the Doyle house into the backyard below.
Yeah, you been capped, son. So, like, dude seemed hard to kill, but I'd say a full revolver and a 2-story fall would do the trick.
After making sure Lori was okay, Loomis looked out the window to see an empty yard. Michael was long gone.
God damn it.
As Michael made his way through the streets of Haddonfield, 2 officers, Frank Hawkins and Pete McCabe, spotted and shot at him before he escaped through an alleyway. Officer McCabe told Hawkins that he knew Michael as a child. His mother made him attend playdates with the young killer, and he pointed out how Michael seemed off and spent his time staring out the window in Judith's bedroom.
Oh, wow. I didn't have Knife Guy's childhood friend on the bingo card.
Could you imagine that? Like, everyone talks about the weird kid and how they were nice to him because they thought if they snapped one day, they'd be spared. Like, imagine being right.
What? I never said that about anyone.
Yeah, that's fair. Could have said anything.
Wait. Dude, was I the weird kid that everyone thought would snap one day?
I mean, I never thought it personally, but, kinda.
Is it weird that, like, makes me feel good, kind of empowered?
Yeah. Near the Myers house, young Lonnie Elam was walking home, having been alerted by a police officer to Michael killing 3 teenagers earlier that night. He was in a rush to get to safety.
So a cop just rolled up and said, "Hey, some dude's been killing kids. Walk home alone. Get out of here."
Basically.
Makes sense.
Lonnie's worst nightmare came true when he saw Michael walking down the street toward him. Lonnie dropped to the ground and curled into a ball, covering his eyes. After a few moments, he looked up to see that Michael had ignored him entirely and walked into his old house.
Gotta get the rest of that dog.
Gotta get that dog! Hawkins and McCabe made it into the house. They cleared the lower level before McCabe went upstairs into Judith's room, remembering the time he'd spent with Michael as a child. But Michael came into the room and threw McCabe against the wall, repeatedly slamming him into it and choking him with a length of rope he'd stolen from the hardware store. Hawkins had heard the commotion and ran to the source of it to find Michael holding McCabe, who struggled for his firearm and accidentally released a round into his own neck. Michael dropped his lifeless body and made his way out of the house.
I just appreciate that he's finding a use for that rope. He's a resourceful guy. He's an awful guy, but if he has something, he's going to use it. Nothing wasted.
Okay. Hawkins checked on his coworker and friend, who bled out on the floor before shooting at Michael as he descended the staircase, missing every shot. Michael made it out of the house as Loomis ran in, asking Hawkins if Michael had killed again. Outside, the police had surrounded Michael, who stood motionless in the same place that his parents had found him in 1963 after killing his sister. Loomis pulled his gun and attempted to end things once and for all, but Hawkins stopped him, leading to Michael being arrested and placed into custody once more.
Man, Hawkins kind of messed up there.
Yeah, Michael would go on to have his fair trial, which, surprise, he didn't say a single word and was recommitted.
Don't get me wrong, everyone deserves a fair trial, but the goddamn doctor who specializes in kid brains worked with this kid and said, yo, he's a lost cause, keep knife guy locked away forever.
It's a tricky rope to walk, deciding when it would be easier to just end the threat instead of following the humane procedure.
He had a dog, fuck him.
True. Okay, and this is our last segment where I ask a question or two to Cody to see what he thinks about this case. Cody, what do you think happened after this?
Well,
It doesn't matter, because I'm going to tell you.
It's pretty rude, but okay, what happened next?
Well, Michael was locked up for the next 40 years, but then, well, guess you're just going to have to be here next time when we cover Halloween Night 2018.
2018? He bust out again?
Yup.
Shit. Well, I hope everyone joins us in the next episode of Real Strange Tales. Make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment, maybe tell us what other cases you'd like us to cover.